There's a very interesting new theory going around right now involving the Bloodline, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's new with the Usos, Cody Rhodes, and much more. Starting things off with some new developments for Cody Rhodes and his road to WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes has become the Bloodline's #1 enemy after changing his WrestleMania selection back to Roman Reigns at the press conference and stepping in between Roman Reigns and The Rock's dream match with each other. With the combination of Cody stepping in the middle of their match and disrespecting their family on top of everything, that has caused The Rock to join forces with the Bloodline and focus 100% of their attacks in Cody's direction. We even heard The Rock just say on Smackdown that he'll do whatever it takes to make sure Cody doesn't walk out of WrestleMania as champion. Basically already confirming beforehand that the Night 2 WrestleMania 40 main event will include plenty of outside interference from The Rock, Seth Rollins, and other Bloodline members. WrestleMania is still several weeks away, but that doesn't mean it'll be smooth sailing for Cody Rhodes until then. The Bloodline flexed their power and gave Cody Rhodes a big teaser to what his life will be like from this point on during the February 19th edition of Raw. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre faced off in a big singles match on Raw that received a lot of time and was a great match. But what spoiled the match was outside interference from Bloodline members Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Jimmy and Solo came out during the closing moments of Cody vs. Drew, and they basically recreated the WrestleMania 39 finish. Cody was distracted, backing up into the corner before Solo Sikoa grabbed him and spiked him in the corner, causing Drew McIntyre to pick up the big win over Cody Rhodes. A win over Cody Rhodes, especially a pinfall victory, is a big deal because Cody is so well protected and very rarely loses matches. So it was a big deal to see Cody Rhodes lose a match in this fashion. It was also the first time he was pinned on WWE television since 2016, so it's definitely been a while. But this outside interference here in this match is pivotal to the story because it's the Bloodline flexing their power and control over Cody's life, basically showing him that they have the numbers and can screw him out of any match they feel like. This tactic could also work for getting inside of Cody's head, making him lose hope for WrestleMania 40, since something similar could happen to cost him the match at the event. So we're to assume that The Rock, Roman, and Heyman set up that attack on Cody Rhodes. And we can also safely assume that it's first of many more attacks that are still to come for Cody Rhodes. It's confirmed that Roman Reigns won't be at Elimination Chamber, but WWE did hint at the idea of Heyman having a plan for Cody and Seth's talk show segment that's set to take place at Elimination Chamber, so we'll see what that plan turns out to be. But getting pinned by Drew McIntyre could also be a way of setting up a future title feud between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre will try and jump in front of the line to face Cody, since Drew did just score that pinfall victory over Cody. So don't forget about that fact, because if Cody Rhodes comes to Raw as WWE champion after Mania, the first thing Drew will do is bring up the victory over Cody Rhodes that we just saw on February 19th. So that will likely come up again in the future. It was also a pretty surreal moment for Drew McIntyre to receive outside interference help from the Bloodline. Remember, it was Drew's hatred and grudge against Jey Uso and the Bloodline that first started off his heel turn, and now he's getting help from them and not really complaining about it. Michael Cole did point out this fact on commentary and called Drew McIntyre a hypocrite because of it. But that's just who this new version of Drew McIntyre is. He's an opportunist that won't turn anything down if it helps him win. So it was a great first match in a long time between Cody and Drew, and assuming Drew remains in WWE, it won't be the last time we see them in the ring together this year. It was a pretty busy night for Jimmy Uso. Not only did he get involved with Cody Rhodes during the opening match of Raw, but Jimmy stood around to the end of the show to also pay his brother Jey a visit. Jey Uso had a match against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther is on a historic reign right now of being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. But a lot of fans gave Jey Uso a great shot of being a big threat towards Gunther and dethroning. After all, Jey Uso did pin Roman Reigns in 2023 and got close to pinning Roman for the WWE title at SummerSlam. So Jey was as credible as a threat towards Gunther as anyone would be. And Jey did get close, as everyone expected, but it was Jimmy Uso who came back out to cost Jey Uso the title match against Gunther. Jimmy laid out Jey and told him that no matter what, Jimmy is always going to be the big brother. This moment was obviously done to start backing up Jimmy and Jey's feud and storyline for WrestleMania 40. It's been a story that's been in development since SummerSlam, and it was instantly reported back then that WWE was saving Jimmy versus Jey for WrestleMania 40, and the time has finally arrived. So the story is expected to shift into full gear from this moment on, and Jimmy Uso has now cost Jey Uso the Universal title, the Tag Team titles, and most recently cost him the Intercontinental Champion. And despite all those big moments happening from last August until now, we haven't really gotten many words spoken between both brothers. Despite their handful of run-ins with each other over the last few months, the last time they really exchanged lots of words with each other was right around post-SummerSlam time. Jimmy explained his actions, saying that he didn't want his brother Jey to become mad with power like Roman Reigns, and how he wanted them to just stick together as a team. Basically meaning that he didn't want to see Jey achieve any success on his own. And we saw Jimmy basically stick to this theme over the last few months. Jimmy saw Jey Uso win the tag team titles on his own with Cody Rhodes, and made Jey lose that title within 9 days. And now with Jey Uso getting close to picking up a win over Gunther to potentially win his first ever singles title, Jimmy just couldn't let that happen and had to step in. So considering both brothers are on separate brands, it looks like a big element that will be used in their storyline will be the element of invading shows. It looks like we can definitely expect Jey to answer Jimmy's Raw attack by going over to Smackdown and paying Jimmy an unexpected visit there as well. Speaking of the Bloodline, there's a lot of new theories surrounding them and SmackDown's latest pickup, Braun Breaker. While signing his SmackDown contract with Nick Aldis on the stage, Braun Breaker threw up the Bloodline's finger pose, and it got noticed by nearly everyone. Despite that he did hit that pose, fans are saying that it may still be a bit of a reach, because that index finger pointed up pose is a very generic pose that doesn't specifically need to have any ties to the Bloodline. But just a few months back on NXT, Paul Heyman did closely work with Braun Breaker and managed him for that week of NXT. So strangely enough, Braun Breaker does have some very light ties to Paul Heyman and the Bloodline. Fans are wondering if that finger pose could be a tease for Braun eventually colliding with the Bloodline down the line, maybe joining as an enforcer sort of role, or maybe even potentially teasing the idea of Braun becoming a full-time Paul Heyman guy once Heyman is done with Roman. So that'll be something to watch out for. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.